All right. What's up, everybody? Are you done with the pen? Oh, no, I got a pen right here. Okay. All right, guys. So basically, purpose of today was just going to go over today's plays. We're going to look at a couple different plays that we could see going into tomorrow. Roblox, Snapchat, a couple different other ones. We'll also go over the cues. And anticipation for inflation news. So, yep, that's right. What's up, Justin? All right, so right off the bat, we took, and we're gonna basically, I'm gonna full screen here. I'm gonna remember Roblox. Make sure I add that. All right, so we're gonna go over Microsoft. You know what? Actually, before we do that, we'll go over the major ETFs. So we're gonna go over the Qs. We're gonna go over SPY and Dow, the Russell, and stuff like that. So right off the bat, you guys can obviously see we talked about how the Qs were moving. And the last couple of sessions that we did this. Or went over, we talked about this major bounce off support for the Qs, and that's exactly what we got. We got a really significant correction and then a really strong bounce. And right now we are back up at all-time highs. The only thing that I've thought to do is perhaps run this resistance here, which seemingly seems, you can see like the multiple rejections at this level. Seemingly seems, but seems to be a strong rejection level there. So I'm thinking 347.50 or 348 even will likely be the target for the Qs at that point. That I think at that point, and it may be tomorrow that we hit that, and when we get that rejection, it looks like it's kind of correlating with the inflation news and the FOMC meeting that we are going to have. So it's almost as if it's just going to hit that final third bounce before it ends up correcting itself. So, all right. All right. So again, the Qs looks like they were up. Oh, whoops. Hold on one second. Oh, I need to edit this. Okay, so yeah, the Qs are up. Looks like 3.2%. And definitely up at that all-time highs. And we're going to go to the Dow here. The Dow kind of moving lackluster, and you guys can see if you go to CAT, look at BA, what are decent setups kind of stifled by the movement on the Dow. Now, we actually talked about how the Dow could go and fill its gap, right, on the daily, and that's in fact what it did. It consolidated underneath this level before ultimately getting that rejection, and it's staying within this channel here. So I'm suspecting that tomorrow we may get a bounce after the Qs run. So I'll be watching things like CAT and Boeing are two of my main plays. Boeing has seen a bit of a pullback here, but if you look on the hourly, it's trading pretty tight in this channel. Let me clean that up a little bit. So yeah, trading in this channel pretty clean. So I'm suspecting that we may see a bounce back up to that 247 level and everything is kind of saying that are screaming oversold on the hourly and above. So definitely looking for the bounce tomorrow. If we don't, and this ends up being a bear flag, then obviously we'll look to play this at the break of this support. Cat, on the other hand, they don't always move identically, but Cat actually had a break and downtrend here, as you can see, making a dragonfly doji here, and so you saw a really strong movement from Cat. It did pull back in after hours and immediately gap back up. So I'm expecting, looking for continuation tomorrow over 220. So we'll be watching that one. There wasn't a lot of flow for any 225s, but Cat has been oversold. If you look at the daily, just climbing into that oversold after just a giant drop. And if you look right here, anytime you see a series of red candles and they start, the price range gets shorter and the bodies get weaker, that's just showing selling weakness. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. Okay, let's see here. All right, so SPY, same thing almost with the Qs. So looks like we're going to kind of push. We haven't quite broken resistance yet, but there is a potential that we push. Right now, that 430 target that we set is kind of still in play. So that's what, and this all depends on movement tomorrow. Now, I think tomorrow may be one of the last days we'll see like strong continuation up into this meeting. So I'm curious to see if SPY and the Qs, as they're kind of in a similar channel. My support like fell off the map here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so I'm curious to see if we actually go and end up hitting that 430 target. So tomorrow would be the day I would expect some strong movement from SPY. So all right, let's look at so IWM, this one held its 9-day moving average as well as this support right here. Let's go ahead and delete that one. But if you can see here, that's actually where it ended up settling at for the day after it pulled back. But it does look good for a potential bounce here, although the MACD and the buying power and volume is starting to dissipate. I did see a lot of flow for this one. So if we bring this over here, there it is. So if we look at IWM, you can see 233, 233, 233, and these were kind of placed towards the end of the day. So I'm expecting, people are speculating that we'll see some decent movement. We ended the day at 231, so I'm expecting that they're looking for a bounce tomorrow. So, all right. Let's see here. Okay, so pretty much got all of those. So let's go over the Microsoft trade. And just kind of the thought process on that one, and what we'll be looking for tomorrow. A couple people in the group, obviously, you guys were talking about, the gap fill, and that's exactly what we're looking for here, the gap fill to 260. So those contracts that we bought today, was not expecting that type of bounce, but was looking for a bounce off of support. So we go down here to the hourly. Basically looking at the wicks, right? So you can see the angle of the wicks off of support. I also ran a wick off there, and immediately when I went down to the lower time frame on this bounce, we had an immediate reversal, and that was just showing a whole lot of strength. You can see a weak MACD and RSI moving really. I like when the RSI is really reactive to pullbacks, because that gives it more room to run to the upside. So we swung these 260 calls And I mean, we're already up. So any runners that we have that go in the money, that's the thing, is we want to see the 260s push into the money. So if Microsoft ends up making an all-time highs, then at that point we'll see a big push on those contracts, and you guys can go look at the options chain. Outside of the money, they're 183. Right down inside of the money, they're 3 something. So we're looking for a strong push break into the money tomorrow on Microsoft. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see here. Let's look at the hourly as well. Sometimes it doesn't hurt. I'm not going to go throw up a fib, but looking at and we already have this resistance marked right here at 260, but the next resistance past that is 262.50. Some of you guys, I believe, grabbed those 262 contracts. So if you're looking at pivot points or even fib, that's one of the next rejection points that I would be expecting. I'm going to be taking, if we gap up tomorrow really strongly, that I will take profit. If we gap up on the Qs and we're anywhere near resistance, I'm going to be taking profit, because at that point I think we'll gap and dump. So, all right. Just 1 second. All right, so let's take a look at Apple. So similar movement, right? So and this is where I want everybody to be really careful. And I know a lot of people are banking on this trade. I've seen a lot of flow. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about Apple breaking out here, and I want to agree. I just don't see Apple breaking out on a daily time frame right before inflation news. I think that's kind of contradictory. But if inflation news, unless I missed something, if we end up being able to bypass inflation somehow, then I would imagine at that point that we could see a breakout. And the target that we had for Apple, and you guys can see here that the triple bottom bounce. I did a video on this right here on Apple, June 6th. We were talking about that bounce off of support, and that's exactly what we got. Really strong move today, slapping that resistance really, really strongly. So we're going to be looking for continuation tomorrow, high volume. But the only thing I want you guys to take note of is, even though we had that strong move, the MACD isn't really moving in correspondence quite yet. And if you look at the 4 hour, we are extremely overbought. And the 4 hour is a good place to be charting as well. So, but yeah, so that's my thoughts on Apple. I'm going to be making a video on that one tonight, so be sure to check that one out. Then we have Snapchat. So we went over Snapchat previously, and we're going to have to go over it again, just to kind of basically reevaluate where Snapchat could find itself here in the next couple of days. So what we talked about, and this actually happened higher than I expected, but we talked about the potential for an ascending triangle, right? Now with this type of look here, I'm always looking at, like, okay, where did that rejection happen? You know, like, and is there some type of triangle forming or anything like that? And I didn't see anything, any top resistances that were like alarmingly close or something like that. So the dump today was kind of unexpected. In my opinion, looking at the setup for Snapchat, it's just a huge. I mean, if it's not going to go up, then Snapchat's going to see some serious lows, because it's been trading in this range since February, all the way from the $51 to $64 range. So this is a speculative resistance that I have. So if this ends up reigning true, and this is some type of wedge, then we'll be looking at the 50-day moving average break for lower lows. So, but if this one doesn't bounce off of support, which is still right around here, and continue to consolidate, then I'm probably gonna go ahead and set that one on the back burner. But let's see here. Roblox. So I had a couple of people ask me about Roblox today. This one made some pretty significant, and this is actually what we talked about, this support here, and whether or not it was going to spill over, and the fact that it was basically going to have to break. And I should have lowered this down a little bit, but this resistance right here, that is exactly where that's fun. Camera's inverted. Hold on 1 second. I don't know how to do that. There you go. Okay, so going over Roblox, and the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because I did see a lower time frame reversal pattern, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like here. So let's see here. So it appears as if we have a falling wedge starting to form on Roblox. So tomorrow we're actually going to be looking, and this is a potential day trade, but we could look for another bounce up to and around the $88 level. Right now it's at $87.50, so if you don't have a ton of capital, you probably don't want to play an inside day. Now, whether or not it breaks that 50-day moving average, that's obviously, we're gonna have to pay attention to price action, and then anywhere around the $88 or $89 level, we could probably watch Roblox make, it's one of two things. We end up making some type of cup, so that's kind of, and I'll go ahead and just draw that out just in speculation here. So kind of something like that. So we could see some type of cup on Roblox, bouncing out of this, off of this 87.50 support, which obviously a rising wedge is normally a reversal pattern. So this one, one way that I want to watch this one is we're going to go ahead, and you can actually see, looking aftermarket, we're already bouncing. So basically anywhere above 87.81, we'll pay attention to it there. If it doesn't even gap up, or if it does gap up, it'll likely do that above that $87 or $88 mark. But 88, obviously, if we end up staying in this range, then we would likely take it above 88, and then right at the $88.50 mark, we would probably take profit. That's not a ton of room, so this movement could end up happening in after hours or in pre-market. If it does end up happening on pre-market, then we'll likely look to take it past this resistance and or below the support. So, but it has it's consolidating cleanly, and kind of setting up the potential for a reversal. So we'll be watching this one. All right, so Roblox Reversal, make sure to set alerts, guys. I just set one at 88. I'm gonna set one at 88.25 as well. Gonna line up a couple of different resistances that you're gonna have to pay attention to. Main ones anyway. So 80, basically 88 even. We have 88.25. And then 89 on the dot. After that, we'll watch price action. Let's look at Tesla. Wonky price action today as we made a pretty crazy pennant, and also social sentiment on our boy Elon is starting to plummet, which obviously is a huge factor in his stock. So if we look at the daily here, we talked about this, it's not quite a wedge yet, but we did talk about this falling or descending triangle, excuse me. We talked about this descending triangle, which would ultimately have us break this 200-day moving average and then end up back around the 560s. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm starting to feel, and I want to be wrong, but I'm starting to feel that the market is going to be turning over here relatively soon. And just looking at the price consolidation on so many of these big stocks, seeing how quickly and fast they've ran up to the resistances, and especially in the climate that we are in, it doesn't make sense. And so I think fundamentally, market makers are only going to allow for so much movement in certain parts of Tesla, or so even if Tesla ends up breaking. So if tomorrow we have a crazy day and Tesla breaks 637, a crazy big push anywhere around the 665 range, that would pull in so many different buyers, and then they would just get faked out because we would end up right at resistance. So we'll be watching this one, and I'm going to go down to the hourly. Can I look at UPST? Yeah, there's a couple people in the chat who like to watch that one. So making that pennant, can see right here. So we're gonna, okay. So basically making that pennant underneath resistance here, and I'm gonna actually pull it up to the 4 hour. So this is not showing strength, right? If you look at this, basically making a long-legged doji here at the top, and then immediately starting to look like it's going to reverse. So in my opinion, right, and this is kind of how you can play this, you can pull this resistance up, and you'll see that it lines up perfectly with the 9-day moving average. That's usually your bullish moving average. When that moving average gets broken, that's at the point where you could potentially look to take it to the downside. And even looking at the weakness in the MACD and the RSI, all of this is showing me that it's easily shortable. So up at this resistance here, I would suspect, and I'm going to go ahead and set an alert on this trend line. But like I said, you have the potential that SPY, rips tomorrow or pushes new highs, but you can also see that Tesla, even though we made new highs, still stayed perfectly in range. So a bearish divergence from the market in a way. So it's just something to pay attention to, but pretty easy. Just set a alert on both of these trend lines. Pennants are notorious for faking people out. So even if it does break this top resistance, watch it at that previous rejection level, and it looks like that's at 621 or 620. So watch it at that 620 level for a rejection and a fake out, and pay attention to the volume and the strength in the MACD, and then it'll kind of give you an indication on where it's going to be heading. So I'm setting alert on that one as well. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Sorry, somebody's calling me. Okay, so we were talking about BA. I just want to recap this trade again for those of you who didn't catch it. This one, and if you're swinging BA, we've seen similar pushes or similar bounces off support, and this last bounce on BA took 3 times, and so we're taking this off of this. It had 2 bounces off support here, and we're taking this based off of this channel that we're trading in. So I am watching this one tomorrow, just so that you guys can set alerts above 245.25, and then below 244.80, and then of course on this resistance of the 244.37 as well. So all right, let's see, just scrolling through my playlist. Let's see what else do we have. Let's go over AMC here and how they ended their day. So, pretty obvious triangle right there. Let's go to the 4-hour. Perfect, okay. So, it looks like today on AMC, which we have found a correlation that AMC, when the market pulls back, AMC sometimes tends to go up. So if I'm right, and we do end up sending it and then pulling back, maybe on that pullback we'll see continuation for AMC. But it is going and breaking into this little channel I have. So above this channel, that 58.85 level, we could see some more AMC action here. So let's see. 1 second. Nvidia. All right, so same thing, I guess you could say, on Nvidia as on Microsoft, just maybe not as strong movement. I still think that Nvidia ends up pushing really strongly, especially with the split news, but it is seeing a little bit of rocky movement here up at this top. And making what appears to be a hourly head and shoulders, but it's not quite there yet. So I'm still watching this one really closely, but holding support. Every single time it taps support, it holds it. You can see buyers pulling it back up multiple different times. And so because, and it could just be the market in general, but because Nvidia is kind of struggling at this level, I'm looking for one more bounce off of support. So tomorrow, if this hits the 9, and you can set an alert on this 9-day moving average just like that, and so if it ends up hitting that 9-day moving average and bouncing off, at that point, I think that would be a good long entry. So I am still watching Nvidia going into tomorrow as well. So. All right. Let's see. So you guys were talking also about PLTR. This one looking a little bit rough. What alert just went off? Oh, it's a Nvidia alert already going off. So I'm going to show you PLTR. So this is kind of what we're looking like right now. and I'm not quite sure if it's a fake out or what the deal is yet, but this is seemingly, unless I'm wrong and this is my support here, and maybe I can go down to the 4 hour here. No, I think I'm right. Okay, so PLTR, and unfortunately, I could be wrong again. I know I said that already like 4 times, but with PLTR, this one is making kind of that rising wedge look. You know, really tight price consolidation, or even a bit of a rounded top. So a lot of the times, and we talked about this previously, we can invert the scale, and if you were to look at it this way, it looks like it would reverse, you know, to the upside. So let's see, which obviously would be the downside, but this one looks to potentially reverse if we can't break and hold above 25.20. And today you saw a prime example. I mean, it almost looked algo traded. It would not break that 25 level at all. And you can see that pretty flat right there. So PLTR, I would imagine tomorrow, if you get a pop would likely push you into the 25-25 range. At that point, you need to really evaluate whether or not volume is going to help. You did have, excuse me, you did have substantial volume today at that first initial push, but then that dissipated for the rest of the day. So we'll see what we get. All right. Get more coffee. Have more coffee, B.
Yeah, just a second.
Here. All right. So in my opinion, I think that PLTR has a chance to hit that 25-25 level. But all right. So let's go to, and in just a second, I'm going to go ahead and take your guys' request, now that we've kind of covered some of the major ones. Neo. I'm going to set an alert on PLTR. All right, there we go. Neo. This one's pretty self-explanatory and kind of what I'm expecting on PLTR. So this one will go out to the 4 hour, and this is almost like an inverted wedge. So you have like basically, I mean, it's self-explanatory, rising volatility within a stock, and now we're hitting that top resistance. This is where we want to see that 9-day moving average creep up and move into that $46 mark, and then that be where Neo bounces off and breaks. If not, sorry. But yeah, if we end up getting a rejection, that could likely spell some serious downside as far as Neo is concerned. Neo, though, is getting some really strong feedback from analysts, and then even just the reports or articles that I see coming from what is this, Trading Alpha, stuff like that. Let's see. So that one I'm definitely going to be watching. And XBEV is likely moving in a similar fashion. So you can just, this is pretty easy, but just draw a trend line here, And you can actually, if you draw that trend line, you can see it's almost making a little baby rising wedge. So again, could reverse up against this resistance for sure. All right. Let's see. Let's go over Ford. So this one we took kind of an early position on, and I still am in the long July calls. But as far as the wigglies, those were cut up against that resistance rejection. But we are pretty flat splap up against our support right here. So I am looking for a potential bounce on Ford tomorrow. And that you can see here, the RSI on the hourly, almost oversold, weakness on the MACD. So I'm looking for a break above basically 15. And I think Ford would be on its way back up to the 15-18 level. And then, of course, we're trading in this channel, so we're looking for a daily breakout here. So let's see, how did Wish end the day? That one broke downtrend at the end of the day, but other than that. So funny enough, guys, I just saw this. Microsoft had 260 call sweep come in at 3:20 p.m. So unless that was one of you guys in the group, hopefully not. You guys shouldn't be buying 981 calls. It's a little much. All right, guys. Well, let's also look at DS. This is one that I want you guys to set alerts on, especially those of you who are scalping or playing equity. These are cheap options, but you can check this one out. It has a really nice flag set up here on the 5-minute. If you go to the hourly, same thing, bouncing off the 9-day moving average. So I'm looking for a continuation on this one tomorrow. I've seen the majority of flow on DS has been in the $5 range. So pay close attention to that one as well. And again, please set alerts. So like it's pretty easy to find your resistance. Right there, 385, 390. And then of course the break of $4. The hell? Oh, Peyton's got my coffee. Wait, did you take the coffee?
No.
Oh, sorry, I thought you already got it. I'm sorry. So, SPY, funny that I say that. SPY has one, let's actually just go look at the flow. So SPY has the majority of calls around the 4:30 strike towards the end of the day. So I think that so look for that movement tomorrow. That's basically what's being bet on right now. Let's see here. Where else are we at? And looking at the dark pool prints is rather big. Okay, so DS. DDD is also another one that I'm paying attention to. This one's sitting at 39. So if anybody's watching DDD, this one is a beautiful flag, daily setup here. Kind of wish I would have taken this one at the end of the day. But this one looks really, really good for continuation tomorrow. So I'm writing this one down on my whiteboard as a stock to watch for tomorrow, including DS, Drive Shack. Obviously we caught some moves on Drive Shack today, but I'm looking for continuation into tomorrow. The amount of flow that was going into DDD is mostly around the 33, 32 dollar strikes, so they're expecting a significant move tomorrow on that position. So I'm looking to take a position on DDD tomorrow. Again, 4-hour setup, really, really clean. Pull that resistance down here. MACD's weak, RSI showing room to run as well. I think what I'm going to do here is set a couple of different targets. And you know what? We'll go ahead and throw a pivot point strategy. So the pivot point is actually at resistance. That's awesome. So $30, 30.18. I'm going to set an alert there. So $30. So that's where we're going to want to see DDD break. And then 31.50, of course, and then that 32.50 mark. That really looks good. Looks good to me. So 3D systems. It does have now just to look at both sides of the coin. If you look at the 4-hour, it does have kind of a head and shoulders, right? But it has. You can see that there's still a lot of respect for this top resistance line. So going to be watching that one. That's also based on positive flow. So we're going to be watching that one tomorrow. One second. Did you guys? I know some of you guys played Wolf, Petco, and then Bark. Watch Bark tomorrow. It's funny. You got Wolf and Bark. Check out this flag action here. I don't like those wicks, but I do like that consolidation here. In fact, run it off this swing low, and there you go. So that's kind of what we're looking like right now. So Bark above 1265. Yeah, DDD looks really good for call options. Assassin. So BARK, Bark, and that one also, it looks like people are taking, I see a lot of flow for the $15 strike for 716. So might be a little bit of delayed gratification on that one, but we'll look to take a position tomorrow if we see some movement. So let's see here. All right. AHT, I saw a lot of call flow for that one as well. So I wanted to go over that one. This is one that Atlas has been playing. I know a lot of you guys in the Discord chat have been playing this one. Kind of similar setup as the one that we went over. If we go to the 4-hour, kind of flagging here a little bit. You're sitting right on top of that support. So watching AHT, 750 is where these people, or where the majority of the flow is at. So that's another one that we're going to be watching tomorrow. The only thing that I will say is if you draw this bottom resistance, it has broken it. So even if it does end up bouncing, 650 is where we could see a rejection ultimately. For GDD, I think July 25th is probably a good bet. All right, how's Blink? Blink had some crazy movement today. That one looks exactly like, which one did we just look at? Snapchat. Okay, well, if you guys would like to throw me any tickers that you're watching, I'll go ahead and look at those. Oh yeah, Disney. So UPST was the first stock. Upstart, we're gonna go ahead and rule of thumb always, we're gonna start on the daily. You always want to zoom out before you zoom in. So on the daily, we can see right here, looks like we got a pretty strong support. And this is relatively new. Looks like they already had earnings. Earnings spurred a bit of a run up. Now you have a really, really significant pullback. We'll look at BIG. Yeah, for sure, we'll look at BIG. If you guys are on the YouTube, make sure to leave a like. I appreciate it. The algos, they eat them. They're delicious. So UPST. I gotta be honest with you. This one doesn't really have enough movement. I think we can get away with charting the lower time frame, and we know where our support is at. But as far as like a larger time frame setup, I don't see one quite yet. You know, you can see there's obviously these 4-hour time setups right here. Not bad, pretty easy to track. And then here you get this really big pull up, and then a reversal. So I would just wait for UPST to hit or be around the 105 range, which is crazy to think because it's at the 125 mark right now. Hold on. Hey, Peyton. I just really want some coffee. Okay, so with Upstart, if you do end up having this crossover or this pullback at this 200-day moving average, so this is what I was going to say, is if this does end up being a support with that 200-day moving average right here represented by the orange line, if it does bounce there, then you could potentially run this low and then run it off of here, and then that could be a potential new support for it to bounce off of, because it's had quite a bit of a pullback, and if it does continue to trend down, you have an EMA crossover that would only fuel that to the downside as well. So still a little bit of choppy movement though. Volume today was crazy, which would give me kind of an indication that this may be a support level. So definitely keep an eye on it. I say hourly time frame, maybe just mark that 130 mark or 129.60, and just keep your eye on it as far as price action is concerned. It looks like the 9 wants to curl up and cross over the 20. So should be drinking coffee this late, but whatever. Thoughts on SNES? I actually bought a little bit of equity in SNES. This one, I think it's among the potential short squeeze candidates. I've seen news on it. This one, unfortunately, pulled back today out of what looks to be a rising wedge. Yeah, so look out for, yeah, exactly, deep, and look out for a break over 130. Look for that 4-hour or daily candle close. Good, good bounce. Arthur, if you would like, if you rewind a little bit, you'll actually, we'll go back over the cues, but if you rewind, there is, I forget which mark it's at, but I did go over the cues, I think right around the 43 mark, so. Yeah, we'll take a look at bingo as well. So anyway, looks like Sins spilled out of a rising wedge. Unfortunately, that's going to have it right around this 50, which is looking to potentially break. You look at the MACD, you look at the RSI. So my personal recommendation, if you're already in SNES, SENS, yeah, okay, then I would be setting some supports around these levels here. It looks like you have 375, 365, and then right below that you have 350. So that would be where, and that rising wedge, of course, you could end up getting a bounce here at 375, and then look for, if that bounce ends up rejecting the $4 mark, then at that point it would make a head and shoulders. So but that's my opinion on that one. So all right, let's do AMC live. Oh god, AMC looks like it's breaking out here in after hours. All right, there we go. Okay, I don't know if anybody is trading AMC. Maybe it is worth grabbing some shares here in after hours. I don't know, that's some pretty spicy movement right there out of this triangle. Look at it. And like we talked about, this level that it's this previous high, if it can break that high, then it might reinitiate some movement towards that level. So, or towards its next high, excuse me. Okay. All right, so we have TRCH. Torchlight. Okay, so this one looks like it is primed for a pullback relatively soon. It may see another, it did hit this 365 level. It does, though, overall appear to be bullish, but this could be that handle, or that cup line, but it looks like it's going to go and try and form a cup and handle for sure. So I'll be paying close attention to any move. I love cup and handles, so I would be putting a support level. Let's see, that's too far. So we could draw this resistance here, or support here, and then look for a bounce. And it may be when that 9-day moving average catches up with the stock, but look for a handle to potentially start forming in this area here. So or it could go a little bit higher and hit that $4 mark and then start to make a handle. So. All right. Let's see. BIG. It's a little bit early to tell, but I would be looking to hedge your positions below 65.75 for a potential bounce around, there it is, 64.50. Look at my cup. I don't know if you can see the top of it. It's sick though. What stock is this? I'm doing well. This is BIG, Big Lots. I thought this was oil for some reason. Kind of looks like it's going to make that falling wedge there, or that let's go look at the daily. Oof. Well, I would say it's kind of messy. It looks like it ran up and rejected that level there. I would definitely look to take a hedge out on this position here. Yeah, it looks like it broke that support as well. There it is. So it went and broke support and then retested, and so now it looks like it may make a lower low. Oh God, you guys fighting over me. That's ridiculous. Not quite yet. These people are sending their requests, so if you guys are on TikTok or anything like that, then you guys can hop on to our YouTube, and that way you can send some requests. Hey Mom. Peyton.
Hmm?
It's okay. Hey. It's okay. I'll be out in a little bit. We're almost done. So BIG, I'm just advising somebody on a play that they're already in. But in BIG, I would say you get one more bounce off support before you see another reversal. But that's pretty harsh, and I am kind of stretching it. But we'll see what it looks like going into tomorrow. So I would set an alert on this support right here. Okay. I love you guys all the same, that's right. You guys are all awesome. Okay, so let's look at bingo. Another request. Oh. Yeah, we talked about, didn't we talk about bingo? Obviously we did. I have a resistance drawn already. Bingo is sending it right now in after hours. I don't know if anybody is in bingo or is trading bingo after hours. But that seems like I'm not sure what that means. He mentioned other people. Can you see OCG or OGI? Yeah, for sure. So bingo does look I know you've been holding this one for a long time, Georgie, but this one looks really good out of this daily falling wedge, and it looks like it's making it made a daily flag into the 9, and then in after hours, it's actually putting on quite a bit of a show, reclaiming and bouncing off that 9. And so tomorrow I'd be looking for a stretch maybe to, you could say potentially $9. I'd like a little bit less of a dramatic rip up, because that would only set it up for a potential rejection. So maybe a steadier climb up would help. So, all right. So let's see, BNGO. We'll look at OGI really quickly. All right. So right off the bat, this one's relatively easy to recognize. This looks like a rounded top, and that's obviously for the most part a reversal pattern. It's usually when you have a lot of shorts trying to get a good average up at a certain price mark. So overall this is very bearish. You have a lot of wicks showing that sellers are very present at this level. The only thing that's good is that there's not a lot of strength. So even though they're trying to build this rounded top, they're gonna need to get it to break below the $3 mark or the 305 mark in order to actually push this thing lower into the 250. So if it can end up bouncing, and what you can do here is you can draw it off of its previous high, and you can see that the wicks show multiple levels of respect. So if it ends up breaking and bouncing above 318, and you can set an alert on that. I would set an alert at 318. If it ends up breaking and bouncing above that 318 level, then you could potentially look at it for a potential reversal. Obviously, buyers are present at that 305 mark and the $3 mark. So we'll see. It's kind of a battle right now, but it does appear to be making that rounded top. Got you. I just don't know what you're talking about, my guy. All right, well, I'm not here to talk about that right now. It's all good. All right, so let's see. Apple. Do I think it can pass 125? We actually talked about Apple previously. So if you go look at the daily chart on Apple, it's really, really obvious what's happening here. Run it off of that previous high. You can see we're at rounded top at 135. So this was a triple bottom, and I did a video. I've been doing videos on this one since June 6th. And so far it's moved exactly as I thought. Volume stepping up today big time. But the only thing is this is a daily support. So you have the contradiction of basically the market reality that we're faced with inflation coming this week, thoughts on that, and then the actuality of Apple breaking a major downtrend by reaching 135. So in my opinion, it's really a matter of watching price action at this particular level, because as you can see, we're just barely getting, and I need to adjust that, but we're just rejecting here in after hours, and you can see on the hourly extremely overbought. The MACD is starting to lose a little bit of strength. So if you played this one today, obviously that was amazing. Especially we caught Microsoft with a similar movement as well. So, but all in all, I would need Apple to hold above the 129.85 level. Above the 129.85 level, it could continue to consolidate here and kind of cool off the RSI, or I think we could likely get a rejection here. So Bingo does look good. Yeah. Okay. Apple QQQ. Well, Apple doesn't really run with the Qs. It does. It kind of picks and chooses, but it does run with SPY as well. I've already gone over the Qs. So if you guys want to check out the YouTube, do that. PSTH. So this one is one that we are currently, we have speculative positions on at the moment, and you can see that it is holding, just barely holding support with a bear flag. So as of tomorrow, anybody in a long equity or long position period would likely look to hedge themselves below that, and that means basically you're going to take a if they have 2250 puts, you're going to take a 2250 put for this week below that basically before the break of 950, and then it cut it if it ends up breaking above 2175, and that would likely be you'd be able to hold on and average down at that support, which would give you a little bit of a better average, whether that be with options or equity. We are waiting continuation in the news surrounding PSTH. So actually, so I'll go over AMC one more time, but AMC actually had a great setup. As far as, I mean, it's actually following technicals, but if you go look at the daily, pennant breakout, triangle breakout. So if you pull it around here, you can see that we held on to support quite well. The RSI is moving, volume today picking back up. So right now you're really heavily consolidated under this white line that we've left here at the 58.75 level, or excuse me, 59 level. We need to break above 59 in order to seek any type of continuation on AMC. And that's where I have the majority of my alerts set. You can see here on the 5 minute, it's making a little bit of a triangle and trying to break out as we speak. You could say that's an ascending triangle, but trying to break out as we speak. So let's see here. Bingo. AYX. Yeah, so we'll look at that one. That one never hit $90. Sheesh. What a mess. Yeah, we'll look at Clove. All right, so AYX, it's got contradictory indicators right now. So it does have a decent accumulation of volume here. The RSI, on the other hand, is screaming overbought. And the MACD, on the other hand, as well, is slowing down. It's not picking up. And the volume, I guess, over the last couple of days has decreased. That being said, anytime we break over a major moving average, that's usually when we see consolidation. So with that, if we do end up breaking and holding this 200-day EMA, then at that point, I would expect consolidation on top of that. So BB and Clove, yeah, we'll look at those as well. That's a really good question. So volume is, think of volume like, you could think of it like throwing power for a quarterback. So, you know, if a quarterback has a lot of throwing power or volume, he can send the ball further. So with a stock, the more volume, the further it can go, the less volume. That's why when you watch and you see a support or a stock up against a major resistance, if the volume is low, that's a key indicator that it won't be able to break that resistance unless major volume steps up. So that's a great question. So let's see. I would mark, and I'm going to pull up pivots on this one. So it looks like your next pivot point, and I actually really don't even need to use that because I can see this resistance pretty clear. So this is the 8765. 8765 is where AEI is likely going to see the next bout of resistance. So we're not too far away from there. If we can clear that level, then absolutely we could see some type of reversal on AEI or AYX. Excuse me, I'm just making up freaking letters right now. But yeah, that one with rising volume and a little bit of consolidation in this area, I think could continue to move higher. So, all right. What software? This is TradingView. For those of you wondering, TradingView is probably what I would recommend for most people as far as user-friendly navigating. I can't say the word right now.
Navigation?
No. I don't even know. I'm not even sure if it is a word. No, the ability to navigate something. I just can't pronounce it right now. I'm tongue-tied. But easy to navigate.
User friendly?
Well, yeah, that one works too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what else we got? PBR. Gross. Yuck. Okay. Let's go to the daily. This is petrol, right? And we are with Rolly on this call. So I actually don't think there's really too much worry on this one. Obviously, you can watch oil prices, in futures overnight. So it's not a terrible idea to keep your eye on oil futures. Let's go down here to the hourly time frame. I never really like when I see like a literal round. It's literally round as we speak. So if I pull this up, you can see it's starting to kind of give me that indication that it wants to form a bit of a rounded top, at least here on the hourly. But it seems to have, and if I pull that down, so if you see this rounded top resistance, it looks like it broke out and kind of retested. In my opinion, it's just really simple. At this level, you have one major support here and then a very much smaller support here. So if you break below 1145, you could take some type of downside position. I don't know if you're going to get any movement with options on this, but you could take some type of downside position to 1125. You break 1125 and then 1112, and then you're going to see some downside at least to the 1050 level, or 1095, excuse me. No, it's not navigating, it's navigability. No, I'm not going there. My brain's I might be in some other reality right now. I might be yucking up. Do you teach? Yes, I do. Jim Bro, if you go on our YouTube, I went over Tesla already and Snapchat, so you can check those out. I just got an alert on PLTR. Let's go check it out. Oh shoot, look at PLTR, guys, in after hours. It's about to yuck up too, man. I gotta stop saying that. He's gonna leave me.
Mm-hmm. So it's just a
Wow. It's alright, I'll just live alone with my MACD indicators and my yuck. Georgie, just make that PLTR go up. Now please navigate my account to profit. There we go. Can we please navigate the market into some clear waters? All right. I do, JX, I do. Yeah. It should be in my bio. It's just Simple Stacks Investing on YouTube. Yeah, let's look at VIAC. So always start at the daily. That one still well under its 200-day moving average. This one, it's just going to be one of those things. I think it's a good long hold. Any positions that you take on it, I would stay long. You don't want to get burned in a position like this. Let's go down to the 4-hour really quick and see if we can see anything. The only thing that I can guess here is it's going to make a rounded bottom. It does appear to have a resistance right here, right? So perfect, right there. So this resistance right here, it looks like it's trying to break it. You can see one attempt and the second attempt here. Like I said, this one is one that is not that great for day trading. But I can only imagine that regardless, the fall came from the whole Bill Hoying thing. And so, you know, it's only a matter of time before it reclaims a little bit of ground. No, you have not missed VB. I'm about to do that next. Okay, so Clove. All right, so Clove, unfortunately, you know, caught up in the rest of the meme stock pumping. The time to take profit was, you know, right around the time it hit or got close to $30. Clove now, if we look at this hourly time frame, is pretty much just trading in range. So in between this, oh, I have 2 lines there. Oh, you know what? Let me. One second. Gargar, you guys are ridiculous. Who do you think there are? Okay. So right now, honestly, I don't. So it's gonna, whenever the price stops being so volatile, whenever you have a certain price range where it sits flat, and this is something that I've noticed. This isn't a fact. I haven't seen it in a book. But as far as meme stocks are concerned, when they make their first initial run up and then they obviously get whacked or hoinged is what we should call it. But whenever they do get that first initial pullback, when they start to trade flat is when I start accumulating positions. So Clove is starting to trade flat in that range, that 1550 range. 1550 is where its major resistance is at the moment. So if you're in Clove or if you're getting into Clove, you know, I would just, and this is something that, you know, you guys should keep in mind if you're looking to make an investment of any kind, especially long term, or if you're looking at a swing into a month. If you have $1,500 that you're willing to put into the trade, there's no reason why you have to put that $1,500 in at the same time. You need thank you. You need to have a strategy, you know, to be able to like, okay, I'm going to take $300 position here, and then I'm going to take a another $500 position here off of the support bounce, and then I'm going to maybe set some aside just in case it reverses. If it doesn't, I add into strength. So and in my opinion, the best thing to do on this one is just have a tight range with these lines and make sure that you have alerts set. Did you? I love you, Vivian. Well, just kidding, Peyton. It's somebody's screen name. I'm just playing. So I will take a look at that in just a second. So let's see here. We got BlackBerry. Same thing on BlackBerry. And funny enough, rather than breaking out of this pennant, check this out. So it basically exchanged. Look at that. Crazy. I love when stocks do crazy stuff, excuse me. So basically right here, really perfect downtrend, multiple lines of respect, finally breaking that downtrend, but underneath our previous support. So kind of trapped in this little pocket here with the whole ribbon indicator. And if those of you don't know, this ribbon that I have on my chart, this ribbon is basically a momentum indicator combined with a moving average indicator that's going to basically flip green when momentum is in obviously bullish. It doesn't always look so choppy. I'm not sure, I gotta fix it right now, but here, hold on a second. I'll fix it in just a second. But this one has it underneath, so as a support. So it looks as if it may end up flipping green here relatively soon. As I stated this previously, what I've noticed when SPY drops, when the market pulls back, that's whenever we see movement within these meme stocks. So again, set a price range for BlackBerry. If you have it at 1361 or right around here at, let's see, where's this at? Looks like 1465. So in between those two price marks, and you could even tighten that up and put this one at 1380. So in between 1380 and 1475 is kind of an accumulation zone for BlackBerry. Below it, obviously we're bearish. Above it, we could be seeing a breakout. So just pay close attention to that one. Maybe a good accumulation section. Thank you, MobileCop. Okay, so BlackBerry. What else do we have? We've got NONV. Right off the bat, pretty obvious support here. Might be making that same wedge. So very obvious resistance here, right? Multiple rejections at this level. But if you go down to this lower time frame, even though it did end up rejecting, it looks like buyers are trying to keep it above this level. Look how clean this support is at 1725. So below 1725, you have your support of 1584, the middle, basically a middle resistance around 1675. So if you break this support, I think that your next trip would likely be right down, and if you go look and run this across, right, you can see multiple rejections here. 1, 2, and this actually ends up being the breakout level. So this is likely where we're going to see our first bounce, if we do end up getting a bounce. Yeah, we'll check out INTC. I almost took INTC today, but I chose Microsoft instead. Buggy, if you check the first part of the video, I covered Apple, Snap, a couple of different other stocks. But if I have time towards the end of the this live, I will go over it one last time. I also will be putting out a video on it on this YouTube channel. So thank you, I appreciate that. That's a cool name. That's neat. All right. Oh, Buggy, did you get kidnapped? He said awesome all, and then he's just gone. Oh, okay, there he is. I got kidnapped, my guy. All right, what else do we got? Any other tickers we want to? Oh yeah, BLL. I skipped right over Mobo. Oof, I'm sorry. Ball Corporation. Is this the glass jars? I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe a massive daily triangle here forming, or, and I'm not positive yet, or we have this channel, and this is more likely our support, right? So it's channel trading right now. So more than likely you have this little bear flag here. You may end up seeing 78.50 if you don't rebound here. You can see this is 1, 2, 3 bounces here. It looks like the short's trying to force it lower, but not able to do so. Definitely in need of a bounce, as it is drastically oversold. And then the MACD is looking like it wants to turn back over. So go down to the 1 hour. Looks like it's bottoming out here. It does look like it does a lot of gapping down too. So let's see here. So go to the hourly, draw your downtrend, right? So ball is, let's say 81.73. 81.85, excuse me, and that's where I would keep an eye on ball for a potential reversal. Confirmation of that reversal would be at 83.90. INTC contracts have been coming in since yesterday. That flow was marked on flow algo. Most of the stocks that he puts out there have already been posted elsewhere. Or we're already taking profit on them. Let's see here. Looks like Jamia reclaimed $30. All right, what else do we got? Oh, INTC, that's right. Oof, what a mess. All right, it looks like it wants to. So this thing dumped out of a daily rising wedge. One of the cleanest I've seen in a while too. Yeah. So previous dump right here, you've got a massive gap that starts at around 60 bucks even. And then you also have the finish of that gap around 62.50. So INTC currently, I'm going to go to the 4 hour here. Really choppy. Has a potential EMA crossover, 200, 9-day moving average, 20-day moving average, and 50-day moving average all crossing over that 200-day EMA. If that 200-day moving average crossover happens, I would likely say a break above 58.15, and then the next mark that you would find yourself at, you have a level at 58.85, but then one directly above that at 59.50. 59.50 seems more likely, and then of course 60 is going to be a big psychological number, but that's all if Qs and SPY are all going to move in favor of INTC. One thing that is important to know or notice is that INTC moved a little bit, but I didn't take INTC for exactly that reason. I've been watching Microsoft for a week. You can see here on my chart, I posted the first video on Microsoft for this support bounce right around here on June 6th. So that's why I like to be really selective with my trades. That's funny, George. In comparison, right, we see the Qs moving, and we see a lot of correlating movement from Microsoft. That's what I want to see. When we go look at INTC, we see a lot of chop. This is not favorable conditions to be taking a trade in, unless you're, and I could be wrong, the TTM could be really coiled up right now, and it is at a bottom. It's lost a ton of value over the last, let's see, since April. So since April, trading in the high 60s, now back down into the 58, which I guess in actuality is not a whole lot of a dump. But nonetheless, INTC does like to try and go fill its gaps. So I would suspect that this has nothing to do with technical analysis and more on news. And we can look right at these calls. We'll look them up. We'll do this right now. So flow algo. Has to stay over 58. Yeah, you may be right. So for the last 2 days, yeah, I wish that man had enough social presence to pump INTC. That thing is a dinosaur. You can pump contracts, you can't pump the actual stock. Market makers will collect you as a prize. So check this out. INTC, massive amount of flow, starting at 10:30 today, and then yesterday pumping as well. So this right here, 702, 17 days till expiration, $60 call, 618, $59 call. Everybody's expecting for this gap to get filled. Now, this very well may be whom you are talking about, but that doesn't mean anything. You can see that the majority of these contracts, 1,400 at $61, these are incredibly cheap bets. $23, $26, $41. So even if they go remotely close, they would likely get profit taken. So you would likely see the value of those contracts fall if it does not end up obviously going in the money and holding there. So those do expire on the 18th, so be very careful. It's at 58, and I think the next mark is obviously $59. And I think that's where everybody else, I don't see it breaking into that gap. But $59 is likely a good price target. So ride. I think ride's kind of doomed. So I think that one, I'm not even really paying attention to that one anymore. After the last news that it has, and it's likely going to be trading here at the bottom for a while. If it doesn't end up breaking support tomorrow, you can see pretty flat up against support right now as we speak. So below 919, likely going to see some downside. So, oof. on today. Yeah, don't trade stocks that have news like that, man. It's too volatile. If you're at 58% on INTC, yeah, there's a good chance that you should likely take profit or look to start scaling out depending on your position size. Let those contracts. It's always good to leave runners. You know, if you have multiple different, if you have 1,000 shares and the stock is moving in the direction that you want and staying in trend, there's no reason to cut those shares all together. It's good to take them out bit by bit, collect as much, or if it's in contracts, same thing. Fubo puts. What else do we got? What else are you guys watching? I wouldn't take Fubo puts. Not yet. Honestly. I mean, kind of, but it's making a bit of a flag here on the daily. Let's look at the 4-hour first. No, it's I wouldn't take puts on Fubo. Look at that, pretty easy. There's a triangle right here. It does look like it's starting to make a head and shoulders. I'll give you that. But I would have liked to see that shoulder reject 29. But it does look like it's making this triangle here. So below, I would just set this pattern up here on your chart like that, and then just set an alert on both the bottom support line and the top support line. Dash. Let's see here. Blue. Yeah, I'll check out blue. I know where that's from. That's the 1 minute chart. Dash, didn't we talk about Dash previously? So daily breakout, 3 candles in a row. This one likely gonna see a pullback here soon. I still think that it hits the 164. Go take a look at Dash flow. I think I saw quite a bit of it as well. That's actually for the 135 puts. That's 820. That could be a hedge, although that is a really, really expensive hedge. So watch it to potentially push 165 in the next coming days. If not, go to the 4-hour here. If not, a bounce off 154.50 or 53.50. Yeah, because it looks like it has a breakout. It looks like it's breaking out on the daily. So if anything, you might even get, and yeah, you even get a retest there. So if anything, you may see some type of pullback here and then another push up. So, all right, let's look at blue. Wow, market makers went ahead and made a fool of whoever tried to play this one today. So what also needs to be seen here, obviously, started off this low, pull it up on this resistance. So this is a descending, you could even say a descending triangle. Might even have to call it a descending wedge. Hold on one second. One second. Okay, yeah. So this is it's It's actually not a descending triangle. It's it looks like a bearish pennant. Kind of has that flat top though. I'm not really a big fan of that. It does have a gap, a big gap. I'm not quite sure what spurred this movement here on earnings, but that was a really, really drastic pullback. It looks like they didn't do any better on this earnings either. So we have a rejection here on blue at 34.65, and this one needs to break. It's usually the rule of thumb is 1, 2, 3 rejections, and then you'll see a pullback, or if it's on support, 3 bounces off support and a bounce. So. You think I have a ghost in my room? Why? Why do you say that? Oh, you're talking about the white. Can you see blaze or something? That's hilarious. I like how this guy said hater alert and his name is Big Ass Cornball. That's amazing. It's alright, yeah, he just said it for me. Okay, so yeah, so pretty easy. I never like on the daily when you get a rejection like this. This right here was a market maker taking advantage of investors thinking that because there's a gap it needs to get filled. It looks like in after hours here it is going to gap down. It's already tried to push up. Immediately shorts took back advantage of it, and it's trying to go break that 33.20. So if it breaks that 33.20 here, then it's got some room to the downside to go. You see it hovering above behind the white word. Yeah, that's the ghost.
Not gonna acknowledge me.
Oh, okay. Oh, excuse me. All right. I'll go ahead and do STMP. I already did Neo, Mobo. Savannah Doobie Hunter. Stamps. Oh, hey, Stamps looks good. Hold on a second. Okay, Stamps got a pretty decent. Okay, so let's get above 198. I would say 190. Actually, yeah, 199. You could potentially take a position, evaluate the volume. That's big volume right there. Definitely a really nice push. So let's put this on the watch board for tomorrow. Okay. We just made some coffee. Anyway, I would I got to stop drinking it. I would like to see a break above 199, and then at that point we could see a little bit of consolidation and then a reversal. The volume looked really great towards the end of the day. So, all right. Anything else? I'm gonna go ahead and make a couple of videos here. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys did tune in and you dug the stream, make sure to leave a like. We'll be on tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, so be sure to be there. It's also on, I'm going to be doing them, it will be on YouTube, so feel free to hop on, even if you're not in the group. So Anyway, you guys have a wonderful evening. I appreciate you guys a lot. Any questions, please feel free to DM me and try to get to them immediately. Oh God. Come here. Sorry. My cat. Trying to rip up my seat. Alright, guys. Have a good evening. Say goodbye, Toothless. Thank you. Alright, guys. Have a good evening.